Hey, just an opinion here. Thanks for tuning in. Not long ago, I told you about the 4 rules of gun safety, and I was specifically addressing new gun owners, and probably even more specifically new handgun owners, of which there are many right now in America. And so right now I want to take another step, and I want to talk to you about safe storage. The concept of safe storage can be a little bit controversial when you start talking about what's required by law and how much the government has a right to tell you how to store your property. But I think all of us share the same desire that we don't want any accidents to happen with a firearm, especially if we have other people in our household, and most especially if we have children in our household. So I'm not going to get into a lot of dialogue and debate about policy and opinion and things like that. They are what they are. You're welcome to your opinion as I am to mine. What I do want to talk about are things you may not be aware of, and that is some of the options that you have to safely store your handgun in your house. I will give you some opinion about which methods I like over others and some of the reasons why. Now, one thing you can do is you can go out and spend thousands of dollars on a gun safe that's about the size of a refrigerator. But there's a lot of reasons why that may not be the best solution for you, starting with it's incredibly expensive. Number 2, you may not have the space. You may not own the house or the apartment you live in, and you can't put something that big and heavy in it. Then there's also the question of access to those firearms. If you bought a firearm for personal protection in the home, you're going to want to have access to it at the drop of a hat. Now, obviously, the most safe way to store your firearm would be to dig a hole in the foundation of your house, put the gun in it and fill it with concrete and let it harden. But then you have absolutely no access to that firearm. So what we're always struggling with is to find the balance between safe storage, inaccessible to unauthorized people, and that's an important term, but still readily accessible to people who may need it when they need it. And if you go too far one way or the other, then you've created an imbalance. So we're always looking for that perfect balance, and it's an imperfect world. One simple option that I like is a small steel lockbox such as this that is specifically made for handgun storage. They're available in a few different sizes, and you can get them with either a key lock like you see here or a combination lock, or you can even get them with biometrics that'll work off of your fingerprint. There are new ones now that also use an RFID, which is a radio frequency device, and it would be a bracelet or a little something that you put on a key fob that would make it work. These boxes are inexpensive. They're very simple and easy to understand and operate. Of course, it's simply a locking box, but they may not be the best solution in terms of inability for somebody to break into or pry open. Most of them also come with a cable so that you can attach the box physically to either a big heavy piece of furniture in your house or something in your vehicle or whatever, to keep the box itself from being simply picked up and walked away with. This may not be the highest security level of storage, but it is going to be effective in keeping the gun away from other people in the household who you don't want to have access to it, as long as you keep good control over this. And that means it may not be as accessible to you when you need it. One level up from that, and one of my personal favorites, is this type of a storage box. This box, as you can see, it's fairly big and fairly heavy. It is made out of steel, and it has a large compartment, large padded compartment inside where you can put your handgun. You can also put spare magazines and ammunition, flashlight, other things that you might need in an emergency. There are also several ways to secure this box. This one uses biometrics. It uses my fingerprint to open. You can plug it in with a power adapter, and it also has a backup battery inside so that you can access it if the power's out. This box is about 10 times more expensive than the simple lockbox that I showed you. But what if you don't want to have to go out and buy something, or maybe you just can't really afford to right now, or right now maybe you just don't have the ability to go out and do any shopping? The good news is a lot of the gun boxes that your gun comes in are adequate for at least temporary secure storage. This is a typical gun box, and it is made of a good quality hard plastic, and it has holes in the handle where you can run a padlock. You can close the gun up in this box and lock it with a padlock, whether it be a combination or a key lock, and you have at least some temporary solution. Federal law also requires that every firearm sold must include a lock, an approved trigger lock of some sort. Here's one type, and this is the type that goes inside the trigger guard and prevents someone from being able to put their finger into it or access the trigger. This is my least favorite kind. This is, I would have to be desperate and have no other choices before I would use this. Number one, most of them are not very secure. This one is terribly insecure. Anyone could access this with a second-grade education and a paperclip. So I don't like it for security purposes. I also don't like it because if they do make it more secure, again, it makes the gun inaccessible. And even if I had the key in my hand and I heard the glass break at 3 a.m., how long is it going to take me, under stress, maybe in the dark, to figure that out? So this is my least favorite kind, but if it's all you have, then you're going to have to work with it for now. Luckily, the majority of handguns sold, and even long guns, come with this type of lock. This is a cable lock. What I like about the cable lock is it is simple. It's basically like a bicycle lock in a lot of ways. It's a flexible cable. You lock the slide open on an empty gun. You take the magazine out and you run this lock through it and you lock it. And obviously you take the key with you. This prevents the gun from being used. You cannot load ammunition into this gun. Sure, somebody might be able to pick it up and they can access the trigger, but it's an empty gun and it's incapable of being loaded. These are free and they come with the guns when you buy them. And if you did not get one, if you bought your gun used, maybe from another individual or something like that, or you've borrowed someone's gun, and you need a lock like this, they are free. You can go to just about any gun store, probably would hand you one if you walked in and asked for one, but there are places you can get them for free, and I can put links down below. I'll try and do that. So I hope this short video helped you to understand some of the choices you have available to you for securing your firearm and storing it secure. Again, there's really no excuse for not having budget or being able to go shopping or anything like that. You should have gotten a lock. When you got your gun, it's very important to learn how to use it, decide where you're going to store the keys, if it's a lock that uses a key. If you live alone or you're a couple, you and your significant other both are equally entitled to have access to the firearm when you need it, you may not have nearly as much worry about secure storage as someone who has kids in the house or someone who has frequent visitors, or maybe he lives with a roommate, a situation like that. In those cases, you're going to have to be a little bit more careful. Okay, so try and figure out what your needs are, what option you think might work best for you, and do a little bit of homework. I hope I got you started with some of the options I showed you here. And remember, securing your new firearm is a very serious responsibility that you have to yourself, to your loved ones, your friends, and anybody else around. Good luck. If you have questions, post them below. I'll try and answer. I'm sure a lot of other folks will chime in and try and answer too. We want to help. Thanks for watching.